Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of Breakfast with Boom. Happy Friday morning, gamers around the world. This is going to be a great show. We have some incredible topics set to fill your 2-hour morning with whatever you're doing. Now, again, it's morning for us here in the East Coast, but it might be midday if you are in the UK. It may even be later if you're in Australia, but we want to say everyone here is welcome. Some of the topics that we're going to cover, man, Gran Turismo 7 just released, and unfortunately it did not release without controversy. There's been a bunch of talk with Survivor not getting a review code because they gave a low score to Horizon. Randall Thor and I talked about that yesterday, and he and I both agreed that if in fact that is true, because again, it's just speculation at this point, that's pretty gross. And it means that Sony doesn't want people to be honest with their games, even though I wouldn't give Horizon a 6.5. I would give it an 8.5, but I'm not playing it because of the bugs. But listen, we are going to be talking about Gran Turismo 7. It's currently with an 88 meta. I got some footage from a good friend of this show, a good friend of this community. Dealer Gaming has made headlines once again. I'm going to show you some of his footage. And quite frankly, folks, with the game, if the game actually looks like this while it's playing, I don't understand how it got an 88. But again, opinions, folks, and I'm always willing to allow people to have theirs. Of course, we're going to be talking about Platinum Games once again, and unfortunately this time around it's not acquisition. It's maybe Microsoft shouldn't buy them because their new Babylon's Fall game might be the worst reviewed game this decade. It's had only 1,000 people playing the game after it launched, and on Twitch I think it had a concurrent number of like 600 people. Not a good start. The game looks like PlayStation 3 graphics. In fact, it is a PlayStation exclusive, and that could be why it was hurt, because obviously it's locked around behind a PlayStation, and well, that community realized that this game was a dud and didn't buy it. And of course, one of the bigger topics, and this one again, news has been a little light, so you sometimes gotta create these conversations. And the one that I want to talk about is whether or not Microsoft, when they're done with the Activision Blizzard deal, should make should be in talks with Square Enix to acquire Edios Montreal, Crystal Dynamics, and more importantly, the Tomb Raider license. With those two studios potentially joining XGS, well, they're not going to have a use for it. And I would love to see Lara Croft become first party because, like Phil Spencer said himself many, many years ago, they don't have their own Uncharted, but they could. So we're going to get into that momentarily. But let's get into the introductions. We're going to start first with the newest panel member joining the crew. You've heard the interviews. He's amazing. He's got one of those raspy, old school voices, and we're happy to have him a part of this program each and every week now. Webb Dave, welcome to the show.
Boom. Thank you so much. And guys, it's great to be on here with such a great panel too, man. I'm loving it. I'm digging the topics today. I hardly wait to get into it. Boom. I have to do, I believe for a fact that the other three are not on camera because they are much more handsome than we are.
It could very well be. I would definitely agree with that for sure.
Just kidding, guys.
Real quick, Chaos Might drops an outstanding, and the first super chat of the day of $5 says, Mr. Boom the Podmaster, keep up the good work. Well, thanks, brother. Definitely appreciate that. And yes, 4 shows a week, very difficult, but to be honest with you, I could talk games 7 days a week. I just need I needed those extra days for rest and to take care, of course, the misses. But let's continue on, and we're going to go first with Fuzzy Belvedere. Now, folks, he is going to be taking the lead, folks. Because if there's anyone qualified to talk about racing games, well, it's Fuzzy Belvedere, simply because his channel, his YouTube channel, his amazing YouTube channel is dedicated to it. And he has a lot to say about Gran Turismo, both questionable and good. So we're going to, Fuzzy, welcome to the program, brother.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone. Man, got some pretty interesting topics and glad to be here with you guys. Welcome aboard, Dave. And man, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's definitely get into it. Dreadpool, listen, before we get into your regular intro, what have you had for breakfast, man? That's what everybody wants to know.
Okay, right, here we go. If y'all heard that, I just popped Marilyn Monroe's Wild Cherry.
Love
This
it.
is
The
from that.
nastiness so early in the morning.
And we're off.
And we're off.
This is from the Rocket Fizz drink place that Carlo and Italian Clowns and I went to a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
So same place where we had the John Wayne root beer.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Nice.
yes, I actually we made some fried chicken, and I made a couple chicken patties, and today I decided to make a chicken biscuit.
Good for you, dude.
So-
Nothing wrong with a nice chicken biscuit. The question
Yeah.
is it plain or what is your sauce of choice?
My sauce of choice is Gouda cheese.
Oh, that sounds nice. That
Nice.
sounds like a very nice thing. It melted over it. Very sounds.
Slopped over some butter onto that biscuit, put the Gouda cheese on there, and just smashed it. I don't do pickles. So
All right. Well, listen. You know
none
what?
of that
To
stuff.
each his own. But that sounds very tasty. But listen, welcome to the program, brother. Can't wait to hear what you have to say on these three big topics for the for Breakfast at Boom.
Oh yeah.
Nice, nice. And last and no way least, the best voice in the business, the one that is going to appear in Gears 6 for sure. Crispy Bomb, what's up, dude?
What are we talking about, Trent? You guys have me dying over here. Great to be here. Dave, welcome. And yeah, let's get into it. I'm just I'm a little off right now because of how bad I was laughing, but let's go.
Well, listen, we got already 127 people here, and we're just 7 minutes into the program. Listen, folks, if you are new, if you are finding the channel for the first time, of course, I was scolded privately and publicly by Randall Thor 19, the man with a million, that I need to ask for people to hit the like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel. And listen, if you want to, help me continue this trek to, we're past 10K now. The next goal, I would love to say 25, but we have to go succession. So 15K is the next big one for me, and I want to continue that. And if you are new and you like the content, you like the banter, please consider subscribing. Share the live stream out on social media. Let people know that we are live, and tell people about the channel. 4 live shows a week, not an easy feat, but something I enjoy doing. And I always bring new and interesting topics to the conversation, even if they are original pieces like the Tomb Raider one, which we'll get to after. We also have to say hello to Toolman55. He's been a new member, a new channel member for Here Comes the Boom. Thank you for being a channel member, brother. Definitely appreciate that. But Fuzzy, I'm going to hand over the microphone to you because what I want you to talk about is Gran Turismo 7. It is one of the big first-party games for Sony. They've had back-to-back. As a matter of, I would even dare say back-to-back-to-back, because they obviously had Sifu, which garnered a lot of really good reviews. The game is excellent. I haven't purchased it yet, but I heard and I've seen lots of playthroughs, and the game looks hard as balls, but it looks good nonetheless. And of course, Horizon Forbidden West is gorgeous. I love the Aloy character. I love her growth as a character. If you were enthralled like I am with her through the first game, the growth of where she was and where she is very, very apparent, and I love it. I stopped playing it because the bugs, especially, and I've talked about this on numerous shows, trying to climb things is just egregious. They need to address it. I fell off so many times to my death. It's ridiculous. And I didn't have that problem in the first game, but I will of course get back to it. And for the remainder of the show, folks, don't hate me. You're going to see some Elden Ring gameplay, which I just hit level 52. And this morning, some mother, father, sister, brother invaded my game and started to try to chop me down. Well, he found the end of my katana much sharper than his scimitar, and I beat him down cowboy style. So, that's that. But listen, I'm going to stop this footage for a hot second, and the footage I was telling you that I have here is from Dealer Gaming. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring it full screen so you can see it. Let me just get to the full screen. Now, this comes directly from, Dealer Gaming. I think we all know, love, and trust Dealer. He says this on Twitter last night. At least they got half of the game right, I think. Gran Turismo doesn't look that good to me. I don't care if that hurts your feelings, by the way. LOL, and that's so Dealer. And at the time, it had 805 likes, which I believe is probably 3 times that amount folks, what you're seeing, this car flipping around in what seems to be fake, is actually real. This is footage taken from Dealer Gaming. He actually owns the game. I do not. Well, there you go. There's your 88 meta. Crispy. I'm sorry. Fuzzy Belvedere. Let's get into it. Are what we seeing actual real life instances within Gran Turismo? It is, because a lot of people, like myself, we see videos, and even like the ones from Sony, the car seems to be floating as opposed to driving. And again, it's just my opinion. From what I'm seeing, I could be 1,000% wrong, but it seems very floaty. Now we've seen some head-to-head comparison. Now, again, I'm not going to bring up the other footage because I don't know who the person is. Joe, Mr. Badbit, who I love like family, said that it was PlayStation 4 footage versus the Xbox Forza Motorsport 7 footage, which, of course, people incite these kind of ridiculous things. So I won't use that footage because you're putting PS4 against, the Xbox One, but it's fine. We are seeing footage from Dealer. I want to get your hot takes on this because you've been playing it and you are our racer enthusiast on the panel. So let's get to the skinny of it, brother. What are the good and bad points about Gran Turismo?
I'm going to start off with the bad only because it's a longer list, at least at the moment. And there's just a few things I want to get out there well in front of everything, just in case people have any questions or concerns. I'm a racing fan, car enthusiast. It doesn't matter what platform it is. I'm buying the game. Love GT Sport after they've updated it and patched it a good bit. When it first came out and it was online only, wasn't my bag. But when it dropped to $20 at that point, and they had
hard to say no for $20.
Yeah, when they had like a single player campaign aspect, or AI races that you could do as opposed to only online, it was a little bit of a different story. I'm like level 50 or 52 or whatever, like just one shy of like whatever the highest driver level is on GT Sport, and I've only done that in like the past, I would say, year or so without doing any real online racing. But going from GT Sport to GT7, if you're a car enthusiast, this game is going to be a ton of fun for you. In the regard of, it's going to have a lot of variety of cars that you're going to be familiar with and enjoy driving on various different terrains and tracks and so forth. The catch for me is, being familiar with the previous titles, there is a lot of hand holding and, I guess you could say, like force feeding you through certain avenues of things that you may not even want to bother with. And some of the things that you would normally, be able to do from start are locked behind a progression system that is I want to say, a design choice that was ill-advised. I don't want to call a developer idiotic, but some of the design choices, as far as locking the painting and tuning well behind your progression to the point of frustration where you can't even repaint your car, put a number on it for several hours, is idiotic to me. Like,
Okay.
if this is about car culture, I can understand, get your licenses, move up the ranks, but the licenses aren't even the bigger thing to progress. You have to get cars to really unlock things. Like, once you get to the tuner, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what license you have. You can't get the upgraded parts until you buy more cars, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's like, all right, I'm going to buy a bunch of cars, not be able to modify them, but because of that, I can now do more modifications after I spend all my race winnings on buying these cars.
Yeah.
That is a design change, or that is a design flaw that needs to change, like, immediately. Some of the other questionable things, and I love both titles, whether it's Motorsport, Horizon, or even the Gran Turismo franchise. I love all of them, but one of the things that Forza Motorsport got dragged through the mud for was microtransactions, which it never really had microtransactions. It was more of like once you progressed, you could use in-game currency. You could never use outside currency in-game. You had to use what your race winnings. If you wanted to buy a $400,000 car, you could spend $400,000, or you could take the chance and spend $5,000, buy a box that could contain that $400,000 car, and you have a 1 in 100 chance or 1 in 100,000 chance or whatever to get that car. It wasn't what I would consider microtransactions, considering it's more like roulette in the game, almost like where Horizon has the spinning wheel, the wheel spins, where you can win cars. It was kind of the same thing, but in a box format. And people assumed that those were microtransactions when you couldn't spend real world money to actually interact with that in any way, shape, or form, other than the money you spent to buy the game. This, on the other hand, this game, I guess for the reviewers, the stores were closed. So now they have it open where you can top off your account, which, by the way, there was a grudge or gripe, a major gripe I had with GT Sport, that it capped your winnings to 20 million. So if you did a race after you have 20 million in the bank, you're not getting any more winnings. It's the dumbest thing in the world, considering that there
Whoa. Hold on a sec. Say that again, please, because what you're telling me is that it seems like the game is fighting against you.
Yes. And there have been other games that have done limits on like your premium currency or in-game currency. Like Division did this early on with Phoenix credits or Bird Bucks or whatever you want to call them, where you'd have to grind so much to get the stuff and then you could use it to buy the better gear, but you could only buy like 2 pieces with the cap that they had. And enough people in the community complained and they upped that level. I didn't really bother complaining on GT Sport about the 20 million cap, because at that point I had kind of given up on it, on any of those $20 million cars, because I'm not going to be the kind of guy that buys a $20 million car and then can't touch it to do anything to it until I win more races with that car, either stock or with the other cars I already have souped up. It just seems like a broken system in the regard of once you reach 20 million, which there are cars that are 20 million, none that are above that, you have to start all over. It wipes out your account and you have to, grind some more. I'm a guy that I'll grind to the point where I have 60 million, then I'll spend the 20 million on one of those cars and then, tune it up the way I want and so forth. But back to the main thing, as far as the microtransaction standpoint, if you don't have enough money in your in-game winnings to buy a certain car, you can easily, add $5, $10, or $20 or $19.
Yeah, the microtransactions. It's funny you say that. They literally just came down, and I give everyone the price. This comes to us from our good friends at the VGC, Video Games Chronicles, which by the way was just nominated as being one of the top independent sites for gaming. So congratulations over to everyone at GDC at Video Game Chronicles, because they're one of the major sites that I use for getting information, because their stuff is always legit, and obviously now they're being recognized within the industry. So big congratulations to VGC. Here is the actual pricing for their credit system within Gran Turismo 7. And again, there are 4 packs of credits available on the PlayStation Store, and these are the cost amounts. 100,000 credits, which I'm assuming would be dollars, is $2.49 or £2. 250,000 credits is $5 or £4. 750 or £750,000 credits is $10 here in the US and £8 in the UK, and 2 million credits is $20 or $15.99 or £16 in Europe. So let me just see if because I have a headline in front of me, and this is what it says. This comes to us from Andy Robinson. I believe he is one of the he's the CEO. Let me see, where's he from? Andy. I'll get that in a second. He says this: Gran Turismo 7's microtransactions have gone live, and Gran Turismo Sports, GT Sports $5 cars now cost $40 if you want to buy it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, which is can you elaborate on that, Fuzzy?
Yeah, when compared to GT Sport, the amount of money you would get for a $5, or some of the cars as far as what they would cost in game, you could spend $5 to get a $2 million car, essentially, is what it would come down to.
Mm.
Now, to get a $2 million car, you're spending $20. So it's
Holy crap.
there is, I guess, the price
Talk
of
about
inflation to
inflation.
some extent. But I'm not a fan of doing those types of transactions. I already did the pre-order. I got the $1.5 million up front from buying the 25th anniversary edition with, a few extra cars. And that's as far as I'll go. I'm not giving them any more additional money. I'll just win or earn more winnings in races, which seem to be capped out at least early on at about 10,005 for a harder level race win. Now there are some that I think are 75,000, but I don't have a GR2 or GR3 car yet, so I don't think I can participate in those. But it's weird because I even got an invite after buying a couple of the cars that I wanted. Oh, you're invited to buy this Porsche, and it's a $2.3 million car. Well, now I'm down to $500,000 after buying the cars I really wanted in the game. And the only real option you have, I mean, other than exit out of that invitation, is to go back and win some races and stuff. But otherwise, it really pushes the prompt. I won't say it pushes, but it notifies you that if you have insufficient credits, you can top that off by clicking this link to the store where you can spend $20 for 2 million. So it's like,
it's funny. I saw a comment, and the guy's name on Twitter is at postup_BBB, and he says something pretty interesting. And I want to elaborate on this with the rest of the panel once you're done giving us the spiel. He says, "Do you remember when Forza 7 got trashed and docked for having MTX?" Even though when he's talking about microtransactions, even though the game never had microtransactions, you guys remember that? Because I remember that. I remember them saying, "Hey, microtransactions are bad," and the game didn't have actually microtransactions. So it's pretty interesting. Again, this is the double standard in gaming. Yeah. Even though this we're talking, Forza Motorsport 7 came out 5 years ago. It's still a raging double standard. But we'll get into it. But please continue, Fuzzy.
But outside of like the microtransaction standpoint, the biggest complaint I have with the game now, and the reason why I've been on Twitter saying it's frustrating, is that you can't paint your cars, you can't modify your cars until well into the progression level,
wow,
which seems counterproductive. Like you should be able to, like, I can understand not being able to jump right out and buy the Ferrari. Hey, you need a better license for that. I'm all for that. But don't tell me if I already now have that license, I can't really get that car until I buy more cars to really open up the tuning to then spend money on the parts to make the cars faster. It's like a weird mix. There are some design choices that I kind of like for people that may be new to racing games. Like the cafe in concept is a good thing, but for those that are familiar with it, it is a headache to some extent because you can't progress further until you purposely go through these certain steps. Certain things won't unlock until you do a certain amount of menus, as opposed to just racing, which if it's a sim, it should be about the racing and not these other little steps here, other than maybe getting the licenses. But even the licenses aren't really the end all be all for your progression. It's more so the menu system that they have, which it's kind of cool, but kind of frustrating for somebody that's already at a point where, or at a level where I can go out and pick, the 5 cars I want, do the races I want, or I should be able to do the races I want without having much problem beating the AI on the hardest level or even making it to online. But it seems like they're giving you these baby steps. Oh, here's how you make a left turn. Here's how you make a right turn. Here's how you stop before this line. I'm like, okay, great. I got that. Why do I have to drive this crap box of a car just to move on further? It's like I already got the one crap box. I don't want to get 2 more crap boxes to move along the story or to unlock the garage. Some design choices are terrible in this, but I'm looking forward to when I do finally progress to where I can paint stuff like the helmets, like the driver suits, which for me, the good things about this game that Forza, I hope, pays attention to. The rest of it, I hope Forza stays away from whatever Gran Turismo's doing. I hope they continue their current course and then just add these extra little things like the uploading of your own stickers, which it's funny. Forza is good as far as carrying over paint schemes that you have from previous titles, and they at least recognize the uploaded stickers that I've put into the game from GT Sport, but none of the paint schemes are there. None of the ability to put them on the cars right now is there until I progress further on. But it knows that I uploaded these in the previous game. But once I get to that point where I can unlock that stuff, I can then do the driver's suit. I can then do the helmet. I can then paint the car the way I want, or change the color of the car unless I'm buying a new car and then pick the color then. And then, I'm stuck with that color until I guess I progress to the paint shop. But it has its pros and cons, but right now the beginning, I'm going to say 5 hours is a bunch of cons, and not cons as in scam, but cons as in, if you're familiar with the series, if you're a racing fan that just wants to get into racing right off the bat, this ain't the game for you. Please wait until they patch and realize that they have these roadblocks that are going to frustrate their player base. If you're somebody that's new to racing games, like Horizon 5 introduced racing to a lot of people that may not have even bothered with racing. If you're along those lines, this may not be so bad, because it is going to do some hand holding, which in some cases you may need, as far as knowing how to drive different types of cars or deal with different types of weather conditions and things like that. But bouncing back to the video that Dealer had posted, you can adjust the camera angles to give it more of a Forza look as far as the chase camera is concerned. And you can also adjust the seating position or a line of sight in the cockpit of the car, or the inside the interior. But it is kind of convoluted and hidden in the menus. Another thing that they kind of, maybe I'm reading it wrong right now, or maybe it's just changed from the menus from GT Sport to now. There used to be a thing where you could turn away or turn off the lines and turn off the little markers, but you could still have the cones, kind of like what you see at real racetracks, to be able to use as your break points and things like that for certain turns. I can't find the cones. It has in the suggestion that it will put cones as an option, but there are no cones as an option, which is a bit silly to me. I'm not a fan of lines on the track. I can see where the turn is. I just sometimes, every now and then, especially if you're racing hard to, pass two cars or outbrake somebody going into the corner, having those cones can be a little bit of a lifeblood, because they're orange as opposed to, a white sign that you're seeing flying by you at 150 or more miles an hour. But one big improvement is sense of speed is a bit better if you adjust the cameras and tweak a few things. If you're a Forza fan and have had issues in the past with the kind of on rails or on top the track feel that you get from let's say GT Sport, there are adjustments to give you that more Forza feel with the body roll of the car, leaning into the corners and things like that. Another big benefit that they have is the DualSense, which, by the way, all along, like with the Elite controller, or even I guess even the standard Xbox controller, but I've been mainly using the Elite too, if I'm not using my wheel for like the prototype cars and things like that. When using the controller in Forza Motorsport, you had very good feedback for gas and brake, whether you were on track, on the curbing, or in the grass, or in puddles. You got feedback that was, I guess, almost as realistic as what you'd expect as far as feedback from a steering wheel. And I enjoyed that. And it was lacking from, GT Sport, even after I got my PS5 and played it with the DualSense, because they didn't do DualSense support for it. The DualSense support for this is amazing. Now, that being said, it should have been like this all along for all of the other racing games. That goes for Drive Club, that goes for GT Sport. Even with the DualShock, because it had rumble triggers or some sort of rumble to it, they should have had a similar type feedback prior to having to go to haptic. So big improvement with having the DualSense. If you have a PS5, or if you're waiting to get, if you have a PS4 and you're thinking about GT7, it's not going to feel any different on the controller than GT Sport will. But if you have a PS5, it's going to be a world of difference that, frankly, Forza Horizon, or not Horizon, but more so Forza Motorsport fans have kind of had that same kind of feeling or feedback in their elite controllers, at least for a while, and now at least it's a lot closer, and in some portions better. But then there's the battery life thing when you're having to deal with rain causing the vibration in the controller and stuff. But yeah, the feedback control, or even the gyro control, like if you don't have a steering wheel, you can do the air steering wheel with the controller, and that works. Although you have to adjust the dead space or dead zone for it and stuff like that. But it's definitely an improvement in that regard. But the progression system that they have right now needs to go in the trash can.
Okay.
Just
Wow.
turn it back to licenses. Stop with the other nonsense stuff. Make it optional. And I think it would truly then, in my opinion, be an 88. But right now, this progression knocks it down about 5 points at least. So
Okay.
that's
I mean,
my
listen,
take.
I love the honesty. I love the integrity behind the conversation. First of all, Big Cloud, what's up, brother? Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you here. We will bring you in on the back end of the conversation because I want to get your take. Obviously, you are our proper PlayStation representative, so I want to get what you have to say about it. But I got to go first to Crispy on this. Crispy, I'm going to give you some comparisons from GT Sport to what it costs now in Gran Turismo 7. And I want everyone to pay attention because Dreadpool, I want to get your opinion on this. To me, the money situation is 3-1. The Aston Martin Vulcan, the 16 edition, the 2016 edition in GT Sport was $5. Right now, it's $40 in Gran Turismo 7 if you want to buy it. The McLaren P1 GTR 2016 model was $5 in GT Sport. Once again, has been raised to 3,600,000 credits. Now costs you $40. And the Audi R18 TDI 2011 was $3 in Gran Turismo Sport. Is now 3 million credits, and that will cost you $40. That also goes for the Porsche 919 Hybrid 2016 edition, which was originally $3 in GT Sport. Once again, has been raised to $40 in actual real world money. Again, I've read 5 reviews, and I know that this is coming directly from us from VGC this morning. I don't understand how they didn't know about this, but this is egregious. And anyone that tries to defend it, I got news for you. You're not going to get me to agree. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, that doesn't sound good. That's not even like inflation, man. That's highway robbery, dude.
That sounds like price gouging.
Yeah, Fuzzy, the progression, the way you talked about it, that I feel like that's the reason, because they want you to get you to spend all that money. And I get it. Like, we get microtransactions, it helps, fund the game. It's part of, how they look at it, but I don't know what math they did to go and say, that they need to make this much money off of it. I mean, if I had the game, I would definitely not be cool with that. I mean, you can earn, but as Fuzzy said, because I'm going off of somebody that loves racing games, that progression kind of locks you in. And it's basically, it sounds like they're trying to make you use money to progress quicker, so then you can start tuning and all these other things. That just doesn't sound right.
I want to read a comment. I'm going to throw it up on the screen for everybody to see from our good brother Smitty Smith, where he dropped an outstanding and very generous $10 super chat. But check this out and tell me if you agree. Throwing it up on the screen. Smitty Smith says, "Hold up, $40 for one car and $70 for the game. They must be smoking that really good stuff."
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I have never seen like dude, we've all complained. Like I remember Gears complaints about how they went about everything, but a lot of people forget Gears 4 was the kind of loot box, and you could earn so easily in that game. I never understood why people were really hating on it, and now you get worse now, and it's getting worse. Don't get me wrong, like even Microsoft, Xbox, some of the games, like they've at least changed it so much to where they can make more money off it. But I mean, generally they keep a lot of the prices at a much lower pace. I mean, for skins, at least, I see like $5, $10, stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of, the car, I get it, you're a car enthusiast. So it's like, how are you going to quadruple the price? It's sad. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't ever spend money on any game like that. Maybe get one skin for like a free to play because it's already free. That's the type of person I am. I would rather try to earn some stuff, and if I can't, well, I'm just playing the game anyway. But and then I just want to bring up, I've been seeing, I know like Dealer's little tweet there. I don't know if it's his footage or somebody else's, because I saw a few reviews that called out the rally and how the physics are working in the rally, which I'm sure they could just patch and fix, and hopefully they do that soon. But it's not just like this random thing, like it's actually there's something with when you're rallying that it's causing you to like almost float. It's weird. It's almost like the springs and the suspension aren't doing anything, and you're just kind of like bouncing everywhere. I've heard it from multiple people. A lot of reviewers have called it out. Not all of them, but I mean, it's something that seems to be it could easily fix. So,
yeah, no, I mean, good stuff as always. Again, it's pretty. Again, it's to each is everyone's own. I think for a game that's been in development for this long, even well before COVID was a problem in the world. It's Polyphony has once again, in my opinion, I think disappointed longtime fans. The last time I played a Gran Turismo that I was enthralled with playing and getting licenses was probably Gran Turismo 3, and that's the last time that I actually cared about a Gran Turismo. Real quick, Smitty Smith drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "Don't forget that Gran Turismo 7 is single player and online only. Where's the outrage? The Book of X." Indeed, that's a great point. We also have another $10 super chat that just came in from, let me see who it is, Andrew Soos. First of all, brother Andrew, thank you for being here, brother. And of course, thank you for the generosity. He says, "What's next? Expect them to charge annual registration on each car in your fleet." Oh God, don't give them any ideas there, Andrew. That's
There's already oil changes and car wash fees, so yeah.
I can't with this game. Dreadpool, let's get your opinion on this. Listen, we've seen what some people would call nickel and diming at its finest, and this apparently seems to be the case. These prices are egregious, based on the frustration that Fuzzy has explained on getting money and having to have the proper car and then forcing pieces of garbage onto you to buy when you already own one. It seems like a grind that if you are someone that wants to just get into racing, you're not going to find that here. What are your thoughts on these prices?
Well, it sounds like you guys need to get good. This is the Dark Souls of racing. Did you guys not know that?
I love it.
So, no, but that's the thing is, it just seems like they're doing the whole PS4, PS5 upgrade path with the car pricing. Because Fuzzy bought, what, the $100 pack? Or the version of the game? So when you do something like that, and you still have to pay $40 for a car, it's ridiculous.
Well, he apparently the 25th anniversary came with 1.5 million in credits.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that doesn't buy you a $2 million car. You'd actually have to go out and buy more credits after buying the collector's edition.
Yeah, I don't know. Deceptive purposes, deceptive practices, deceptive manipulation. I don't know.
I mean, there's
a lot
to say
of
that. Sorry.
There's a lot of stuff going on here that's kind of shady again, and it's like, why? Why are they doing this? And this is supposed to be the creme de la creme of racing sims. You know what I mean? From day one, when we were playing on the OG PlayStation, this is where you had to drive and get your licenses and do this and that. They should be fighting to get that spot back, and it doesn't seem like they're fighting to get the spot back. It seems like they're fighting to get as much money milked out of you. I'm sorry, but it doesn't seem right. I mean, it doesn't look right either. I mean, you got to remember they started this in the PS4 era. So I have no idea how much information they knew what was going to happen with the PS5 to even put that into the engine. So, yeah, we're looking at basically a PS4 build with the updated graphics and other features for PS5.
Yeah, that's
So, you know what I mean? And they're charging you for all this extra? That doesn't make sense. And you're held back before you can progress further. I mean, it's not like I said, licenses. You know, you were held back because you had to accomplish something before you can go on. But do you have to be an accomplished painter before you can repaint your car? I mean, something does. There's certain. I have no idea who's doing what up there when it comes to this, but something doesn't sound right. And you know, if that's the way they designed it, that's not a good plan. I mean, just watching the gameplay, listening to Fuzzy talk about all this stuff.
It sounds like would you agree that it sounds more of a step back than a step forward?
It's more like Paul Abdul, 2 steps back. You know,
well,
it just. But you know what the best part is? Marilyn Monroe's Wild Cherry tastes like a red Jolly Rancher.
Oh, that's delicious. Excellent. Well, you know, at least you got something out of the deal.
A fizzy.
Unlike poor Fuzzy, who got clobbered and continues to get clobbered.
It only paid like $2.
Yeah, let's bring Web Dave into the conversation. Dave, you've heard Fuzzy's breakdown. You've heard Crispy and Dreadpool so far. I was lukewarm on the release because I like the franchise. I played it back in the day. I was a very big fan of 1, 2, and 3, and then it completely fell off a cliff for me. Polyphony with their delays. This game again is 5 years in active development. It could be longer because I think that one of the running rumors is that they were dual developing. Because GT Sport came out of the fact that other the follow up, which was what we're playing, was unbelievably delayed. So they, from what we understand, they were dual developing. So this game could logistically have been in development for more than 5 years. If in fact that is the case, this is incredibly disappointing.
Agreed. It's well, first of all, I got to say that at those prices, I don't even know if I could afford a Pinto, but but you know, much less my own car, which is a Z. Hopefully, that's included in the set when you get your starter set, but who knows? But man, and then it holds you back too in your progression. Until until you got a certain. I understand that, but the last time I was held back was high school, so it's sorry, it's that was a joke. Yeah, it all around to me sounds disappointing. To be honest, I mean, I enjoy racing games. I have not purchased this one yet. I have not played it for myself. I'm disclose that right up front. When I see the previews and playthroughs that other people have done online, and then sometimes there's even comparisons to Forza 5 as far as the graphics, and I mean they say it's realistic looking, but there's some parts of it to me that look a little washed out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just maybe it's just me. My expectations after playing Forza is a brighter, vibrant game, and also that the cars are the only thing to get the quote unquote ray tracing effect. Is just the reflection in the cars, that it's not anything on ground or water.
No, it's supposed. I think it's only when you're showing off the car in explosion mode when you explode the car.
Yeah, so I mean, which is fine, but they kind of touted it like it was the ooh, how pretty these are, and it is beautiful. I mean, but they are cars, and the cars in Forza look absolutely amazing to me. So I don't know. I just I expected more, especially with as much as they apparently have writing on this game to compete with Forza. I thought that Sony would have actually done maybe a better job, but then then you get into the nickel and diming. That's just like you said, egregious. I think it's money's tight now, and with the economy tanking, who knows? how things are going to go. Be lucky to get around the track with what the base cars are. Maybe get a few cars here and there. I know you can earn stuff, but it seems like it's going to be a long haul to get the kind of cars that you want, or to unlock all of them may be an impossibility in the game. So.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Real quick, Hyper TTK in the chat says Sony turned off the microtransactions for reviewers, so they will give Gran Turismo 7 a good review. And now that it receives the Metacritic scores, they've made it live for people to purchase. So scummy, Sony.
True.
I mean, I don't know if in fact that is the case. One could suggest that that's a typical Sony move per se. I don't know if they would have, when a game isn't officially out, I don't believe the servers are live. So I don't even know if they wanted to, could they have, did the microtransactions. But I will say this in defense of what Hyper TTK is actually saying. When you review a game, and I've been very fortunate on this small channel to review two really big ones. I got Gears 5 and I got Forza Horizon 5. I was very, very lucky because, again, this is still a small channel. And in my press kit, I was presented with everything that is going to be available day of launch, included microtransactions. So if the microtransactions were not included, then that's Sony being, well, I hate to say this, Sony. If they were included and they were, not talked about because they wanted not to give this thing any bad press, then that's where the cult of Sony comes into question. And now I have a real problem because, like I said in the opening, Survivor may be a small Australian review or a website, but that doesn't mean that. I mean, they've reviewed many big games. They've given some big games crappy scores because they thought that the game was crappy. They're entitled to do so, and their opinion. Here, the thing is this: if it turns out that SIE blackballed them because they gave Horizon a 6.5 and not a 9.5 or a 10, like many other reviewers have, then that's Sony. Then that's wrong. Both Rand and I talked about it yesterday. But BitCloud Gaming, let's get your opinion on this, brother. Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you here. Listen, you are. If there's any one person I will turn to that represents the brand in a proper manner, besides Mr. Badbit, it's certainly you. And you obviously pride yourself. You give the business to Sony when they deserve it, and you will obviously defend when someone's pounding on it for no reason. Where do you fall in what's going on with Gran Turismo 7 so far?
I literally just went live for 30 minutes. I was talking about the Metacritic scores for everybody, because a lot of people now putting their self-worth into review scores.
Yeah,
So,
don't do that, please.
Yeah.
Please do not put your self-worth into review scores. That's not right.
I don't know what's going on at this point with the internet, but everybody apparently there's a conspiracy, and anybody who works in the industry is part of the conspiracy of games getting review bombed and not receiving a proper chance.
Can I ask you something, BitCloud? In all honesty, what's wrong with an 88? I was under the impression that if your game gets an 88 out of 100, that's a great score. If you go to school, if you go to school and you take test A for class B, and you get your paper back from the professor, and he or she says, "Great job, Boom! Great job, Cloud. Here's your 88." You're like, "Holy shit! I got an 88.
Got an 88. I'm going home happy.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go celebrate."
But what's funny? There are games that we praise that score less than 88s, that scored 60s, like the Order 1886.
Yeah.
Wow.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's
Rise
true.
Son of Rome. People say that had potential. Rise Son of Rome. And people are bent out of shape over review scores. And again, comes down to you, how you feel about the game ultimately. But besides the point here, a lot of people don't look at context as to why these games potentially score low. There's a reason why GT7 did not get a 96 or a 97. And we're pretty much looking at it right here. Nickel and dime. A lot of people are not supporting of it. There's your answer. It's not a conspiracy. It's just right in front of you. A lot of people just don't want to do research or look into stuff. They want to immediately point the finger and act like they're going to buy it when they don't buy it. That's the other thing. As far as the game is concerned, this is wild to me at the same time. And if it does take off, then well, get ready for a new standard that's going to be for everybody. Because if Sony can get away with it and make tons of money on it, it wouldn't be surprised me at all if you see Forza incorporate something like that into their system. It wouldn't surprise me if you see another racers do something like that. Now, I'm not a racing sim guy, so it is what it is. But yeah, I'm not a fan of it whatsoever.
Well, I mean, again, you know, it's sitting at an 88 meta. If you don't like that score, I don't know what to tell you. 88 is actually still a good score in gaming. I know 90s are better, and I know 100s are better, but the game as it stands, and I believe it has 75 or 76 reviews, which is a lot of reviews, and to have still an 88, that's pretty impressive. But
It's just wild to me, like, because dudes are comparing it to Elden Ring. They're like, "Oh, Elden Ring's got a 90." I'm like, "Well, Elden Ring is freaking good. That's why."
Elden Ring, you will be proud of me, BitCloud. I am level 52. I am near 40 hours into the game. I am addicted. I have taken down 9 mini bosses, 1 main boss, and it's my first real Souls game. I know people are like, "Oh, boom, it's so much easier." I actually had one guy tell me, which I was a little disappointed because the guy's followed me for a while. I listen, I'm not a Souls guy, folks. So when I beat a boss and you see me post online, you know, drop it on Twitter, it's because I'm actually excited as a gamer because I'm not a Souls guy. He actually told me, "Don't do it to yourself," meaning not to embarrass myself to get excited about beating a boss. Well, you know what, dude? What can I tell you? Don't follow me.
Dudes are miserable, man. They don't like to
I don't know
see
what
you
to tell
happy.
ya.
They really do. It's sad to me. It's just sad. Like, how come you're not playing Horizon like this? I'm like, I will when I get to Horizon.
Yeah, Horizon for me, I will get to it. I have 8 hours. You can go and check my PSN. It's open to everyone. I got a couple of trophies. I am not happy with the climbing. It's bothersome for me. The hitboxes are that she's not grabbing where she needs to grab. So when that's patched, and I could see me actually playing this game for the next 3 or 4 months because I want to beat this game. And
there's so much more to it, you know. Like everywhere you go, there's a boss. There's an area to explore. It's like it's so alive. And
one of the things I found very interesting is the conversations that I'm having with other people like Keosante and Everborn and other people that play this game. Is that I'm like, I just found this bugbear who does bear hugs. He's the size of the screen. And after like 4 or 5 times, I finally beat him. I brought in the wolf pack and we beat him down cowboy style, and it was great. And Keosante and I were talking this morning. He's like, "Yeah, did you find this boss with spiders?" And I'm like, "What? Where?" And and that's the water cooler moment that I'm getting from this game. And again, I'm not a Souls guy, but I'm not playing it like a Souls. I'm kind of playing it like Assassin's Creed a little bit, you know, the same way I played Neo. I played like Animusha. But like I said, I'm quite enjoying it.
Styles.
Yes, yeah, dude, it's I'm enthralled. I really am. I cannot wait to get back to it. But listen, folks, Big Cloud, we're gonna go right to you first. We got to talk about Platinum Games again, and unfortunately, brother, it's not good. Their new game that just released as a PlayStation exclusive might be considered one of the worst games released this generation. It's called Babylon's Fall. I have seen many videos. I watched Maddie Plays. I like Maddie a lot. He works with Cognito, obviously, on Defining Duke. He put out a video of what is this game, and he's onto something. It looks bad. It looks, I mean, it looks so bad, ladies and gentlemen, that they're PS3 level graphics. Like it didn't just go back from PS5 to and land on PS4. No. It skipped the PS4 and said, "No, we have to make this look even worse. So we're gonna make it look like PS3 graphics." It is abysmal. Have you had a chance? Because even Mr. Badbit, now that's Mr. PlayStation. I told him about his. Joe was like, I didn't even know that game was out. Well,
I
there
didn't either.
you go. And there you go, live on the air. You didn't even know that game was
I
out.
didn't know. I'm too busy playing actual greatness. I didn't know what this was.
Oh my god, that's
So-
awful. That's awful, dude.
That's bad, man. That's crazy because I was all for giving them a chance, especially with the reports going around, possibly Scalebound, possibly coming back, and Microsoft purchased them. The question of the day is: are they going to pull the same ace card they tried to do with Microsoft? Are they going to blame Sony? Like, it's Sony's fault. The reason why the game looks the way it does, vice versa. I don't know, man. But incompetence at its finest. Let's just go ahead and put it like that. They're very
Well, let me give you some stats. On its release day, Babylon's Fall on the PlayStation 5 had fewer than 650 concurrent players on Steam. This is coming from a Steam Spy. And apparently the Square Enix title is currently outside of Steam's top 50 best-selling games. Top 50, it just released. And I got some more information. Again, I pulled this article live on the air from VGC. The game is $60, or the deluxe edition, if you could believe this, is $95 for the deluxe edition. Currently has 18 reviews on Steam. It is not doing good at all. And you know what? VGC is saying that for comparison, another live game published by Square Enix, Marvel's Avengers, saw around 28,000 concurrent players at launch. And obviously the game would be branded a failure by Square Enix bosses. Well, another game that had at peak concurrent that Square Enix considered to be a failure was 125,000 players for Outriders. Well, this had 650 concurrent players.
That's a colossal failure at that point.
And yeah, it's not good, ladies and gentlemen. It's not good. I mean, I can bring it up on the screen if you want to see what VGC is. Hold on, let me bring it up.
I don't know what the issue is with these guys. Are they trying to be just too ambitious with their titles, and they're letting their ambition get the better of them? I mean, sometimes it's best to play it a little safe, build some trust, build something that works and it's competent first, and then you start branching off to the more ambitious stuff. But that's wild to me.
Let me see if I can get it to unpause. Is it playing on the screen? Yeah. Here, let me bring it up so you guys can see full screen layout. Again, this article is pulled directly from. I'm gonna bring up White's full screen here. See if we can bring us full screen. Yeah. Here's the game,
that's
folks.
That's pretty bad.
This is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. It looks awful. This leads the question. Big Cloud. Joe said it in the DM, and I'm not going to put words in his mouth. He simply said that Platinum Games is overrated. Is he on to something with this?
At this rate, yeah, he's on point.
Yeah,
there's no ifs or buts about it. Like whatever little bit of premise they had left, where people probably had faith in them, I think they pretty much just pissed it away with just this right here. Usually when you have a game, whether it be, something new in this case, you would want to showcase your best work, your best foot forward type of thing. If this is considered your best foot forward and you think this is acceptable and people are going to flock to it, you definitely lost your steps. You missed your steps.
Yeah, 100%. This looks terrible. I mean, it does look like PlayStation 3 graphics. And it's and something. Let's bring Crispy Bomb into the conversation. Crispy, this is what's interesting, more so than the game just being terrible, is the fact that this is now another published stinker for Square Enix. They continue to drop the ball. I don't know how much. I mean, listen. Again, we're gonna keep Square Enix in the conversation on the back end of the Tomb Raider conversation. And we'll get to that in a minute. What are your thoughts on this? Platinum Games delivering what looks to be another awful title, which again, they've become extremely hit or miss. And recently, they wanted to do Scalebound. Would you try? Is this why Microsoft isn't jumping at the chance to bring that IP back?
I would say so at this point. It's kind of like they just Sony Quiet was like, this game doesn't exist. Like we're gonna put it out here. It's just like Crossfire X with Microsoft. So I don't want to hear, because a lot of people said that. Now you have your example right here. They do hide games that just aren't good. Okay. And they probably just wanted to get it out there and whatever contract be over with, because I'll tell you right now, Platinum has slowly just taken away any faith from any gaming company at this point. It is a scar on Square Enix once again. They have, if Outriders did that well compared to this, that's super, super bad. So it's one of those things, like Platinum should not be trusted at this point. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else buys them, if Embracer Group or something like that. I mean, their tier level is down in the gutter at this point, as far as it being a AAA studio. You can't even put that word even close to that for them. They are barely a AA the way it's looking at this point. So, I mean, Microsoft has the IP. If they do scale down, they got plenty of devs now. You could do it with somebody you trust and somebody that's and give them the time and not be paying the normal wages that you have been paying, and give some of these studios, I wouldn't be surprised if once Activision the deal's done, Raven or somebody like that gets, a new game that's not Call of Duty. Like, yes, we have the IPs. Here you go. You want Scalebound? There you go. So just Platinum. I'm sorry. No Scalebound for Xbox, and shame on you, honestly. I mean, you should have just delayed the game if it's like that.
Yeah, 100%. Dreadpool, let's bring in on the conversation again. Not the biggest topic of the day, but certainly one worthy of a conversation, because it is a new game and it is doing terrible. Elemental PO drops a $5 super chat and says, referring to Platinum Games, is this the reason why they wanted to beg Xbox to make a game for them again? What's your response to that, Dreadpool? Is Elemental PO onto something?
Well, funding would be great. I mean, they probably wanted it so that way, the studio that they just opened up not too long ago for this game in Tokyo, we're going to open up a new studio in a city so we can make this game. And the problem was they just don't know how to make any games using Unreal Engine 6, because there's no such thing yet. I mean, obviously they saw the light that they weren't doing it. Why would they even put it out? Let's delay Halo, but not this game. And the funny thing is, I'm watching some of the gameplay or the trailer, whatever they're showing, and I'm thinking, kind of reminds me like in between Fable 2 and Fable 3.
Well, what's interesting? That's not my gameplay. That gameplay is coming from the publisher, which means that if that's the best foot that they're putting forward, ouch.
They didn't even clean it up. They didn't even up, I don't know, cinematically.
They didn't even try to make it look
clean
pretty,
it.
bro.
Yeah. They didn't even have faith to even do anything about it. So it's bad. Why? And everybody's like, yeah, we should bring them back. No. Don't. I mean, this is a prime example when you're too cocky with yourself and don't care about what you're putting out there as your product. And
I was in the camp of, hey, they should acquire Platinum. It'd be great for the and now I see this and I'm like, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Next time, listen to some of us that said no.
No, yes, I 100% agree. And I listen again. This is going to be a short topic because we're going to get into Square Enix and how they currently feel about the Western Division, which includes Edios Montreal and of course Crystal D. Obviously, Tomb Raider didn't do enough stats for them. I actually have I'm going to see if I can pull it up while we get Fuzzy opinion about this. Fuzzy, I mean, let's talk about Babylon's Fall. This is another stinker. 650 people concurrently playing a new game is not good. That's just definitely not good.
Not to poke fun at other developers or anything like that, but I think even Lawbreakers had a better launch than this. So totally different game, obviously, totally different genre, but it's a shame. I don't want to see a dev close because of a poor reception on a game, but I think the scope of the game should have been put out there a little bit sooner, or at least because like Pragmatic Eagle was saying in the chat, it's like with these instance based MMOs, it you're taking into account all the players, all of the world and all that stuff. So the graphics usually are fall on the wayside for more so the exploration aspect. But even still, I'll just come out and say it. Outside of, was it Nier Automata, or I'm probably saying it wrong, but I've never really been that big of a fan of Platinum. But it's a shame that only 600 people are playing this game, and it seems like Sony just quietly pushed this out, kind of like what Chris was saying with Xbox and
Crossfire X.
Deadpool was saying with like the Crossfire X and stuff. It's a shame, but
You know what's the difference between that though? This is a $60 game. Crossfire X is on Game Pass. That's
True.
a big difference.
This is one of those they should have had as like a PS Plus thing, kind of like they did with Destruction All Stars. But yeah, it's a shame that only 600 people are playing. And typically, your launch, concurrent players is going to dwindle over time. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're drawing any more attention to it to bring more people in, and that just means it's going to wind up dying even faster type of deal. But no, I was in the do not buy Platinum Games camp, just because it even though we don't have entirely the full story, although there are always multiple sides of it. The whole deal between that and with Scalebound and stuff like that, I just wasn't a fan of, because appearance sake, it just looked like they were not prioritizing properly, and it just seems like maybe some things were overlooked or not focused on where they probably should have with this game, to at least bring more attention to it, to have a better launch or something. But it's a shame.
Indeed, it is. And let's get. I want to read some. Now, this comes to us directly from. He made the list himself. I'm talking about Everborn Saga. Obviously, he's on Primetime Gaming, and this is from Square Enix. These are press quotes directly from them. And listen to this. Listen to this record, Web Dave. Outriders failed to meet expectations. Guardians of the Galaxy failed to meet expectations. Tomb Raider 2013 failed to meet expectations. Hitman failed to failed to meet expectations. Deus Ex, Sleeping Dogs, and Marvel's Avengers all failed to meet expectations. That is a total of 2, 4, 6, 7 games that they have released in succession since 2013 that has failed to meet expectations. This is bonkers. And now you can add this game. This game is definitely going to fail to meet expectations. That would be game number 8. They have a terrible, terrible track record, and they apparently continue to back the wrong games. It makes me wonder as to why Crystal D and the Montreal studio is potentially going to be coming to Xbox Game Studios, which we're going to get in a minute. What are your thoughts on Babylon Fall?
Well, to compare to these other games on their are not up to par list, it's definitely in a level all its own. I've played Outriders. I enjoyed that game. I think it was pretty good for what it is. Guardians, I think it's a great game. Obviously, to them, that's not their level of what they wanted to do with the game. But are their expectations too high? I don't know. But for this game, wow, yeah, the player base is extremely low. I downloaded the demo, never got to it. Probably won't now. Probably gonna just delete that and just kind of forget all about it. I definitely don't think. Um, Put it this way: if they were trying to entice Microsoft into buying Platinum, Platinum just put the nails in their coffin because it really, especially when you see the breakdown of the character create screen, it really does look like PlayStation 3 level graphics and the hair. And I mean, I don't know. It just seems like they could have done so much better. And there's some people in the chat saying that it's certain types of MMOs, because it's an instance that the graphic level should be lower. I can understand that, but there is definitely some potential in the game that has been lost. Not just in that, but like the cutscenes, where like they're not like digital animated cutscenes. They are, unfortunately, just like poor animation. Like,
Say the least.
I mean, like maybe like an arm moves or something in the cutscene. It's like, what in the world is this? I don't know. It's just very disappointing. But I guess the best thing for Microsoft is that they can say now, I think we'll pass. I think we will pass.
Well, Wandering Dutch, friend of this community, friend of me personally, he put out a tweet just now and says, "This is why we don't want platinum games with Xbox. Dear God."
Amen.
So there you go from the Wandering Dutch. But folks, we got to get into the speculation town of today's show at 11:11, which is lucky for some, bad for others. Listen, folks, here's the thing. We know Microsoft is all about adding talent, adding IP to Xbox Game Studios. Well, you know what? Actually, before I do that, let me shout out Pragmatic Eagle, generous friend of the program. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat, and Fuzzy made mention of it before. He says, "To be fair, in defense of Babylon's Fall, if you didn't know, it's an instant-based MMO. These games generally don't have top-tier graphics because they're massive games. Zooming in is bad marketing." Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. So thank you for the generosity, and of course, thank you for the information. I actually didn't know that, but let's continue on this speculation train. Look, folks, right now, as of today's date, Crystal Dynamics has been quote unquote loaned out to the initiative, which is currently run by Daryl Gallagher. Now, Daryl Gallagher has an incredible history within gaming. He is the head of the initiative, look, he obviously was with Crystal Dynamics in his past, and it makes sense as to why he would want that team that he knows in and out working on the Perfect Dark reboot. We've seen more people added to that studio with higher. They've been hiring at a feverish pitch. They've been adding some incredible talent, but I gotta talk about the bigger picture here. Now, my personal opinion is that Crystal Dynamics, the ink may not be on the paper because they may have to make announcements that because it's a publicly traded company. I don't know if sums of parts need to be put out there, so I don't know for sure. It's just speculation at this point. I have a strong suspicion and opinion. This is my opinion, folks, that Crystal Dynamics is in fact going to join Xbox Game Studios at some point. Now, has the Activision Blizzard deal and its importance and priority to Microsoft changed when that's going to happen? that is potential. But if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we had Hogue Law on, who believes that they could, in fact, pick up a studio or two this year and still not damage the deal. And I believe him because he does no business. He does business law. That is his shtick, so to speak. But I don't want them to just stop at Crystal Dynamics. I would love to see them bring Edios Montreal, who just made Guardians of the Galaxy, which if you didn't know, is dropping into Xbox Game Pass. And by God, if you did not play that game, please trust my opinion and give it a shot. It is absolutely freaking phenomenal from start to finish. The soundtrack's amazing. The banter between the characters is top notch. Like I said on numerous podcasts, the writing on this game is James Gunn level good. I mean, man, it is so good. So with that said, if they were to get those two studios, I think that would be great, because what it does is potentially fixes an issue that Microsoft has in bringing us the Sony type of game, the third person story driven over the shoulder kind of romp that I like. That's why I have a PlayStation 5. I appreciate those games, and I would love Microsoft to do more of those. I'd love to see, but again, let's not stop with those two studios. Square Enix, as we know, has already thrown both of these development houses under the bus publicly, which is shocking. Why would you do that? I have no idea. But with that said, what it does is tell me that they have no faith and no confidence in either of them. And if in fact that's the case, they could potentially be looking to sell them off to someone like Microsoft, who has a connection with people in both studios, thanks to Daryl Gallagher. But I don't want to stop there. Look, a couple of years ago, Phil Spencer was interviewed during the controversy behind Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider being exclusive for a year. And Microsoft got so much shit from everyone in the media who now praises Sony for the same thing. But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole and talk about the cult of PlayStation, because we know that they exist. What I want to talk about is, in that interview, when they asked Phil specifically, why did you do this deal? Why was this deal important to you, Phil? And he came out and straight up said, it's because we don't have our own Uncharted. Now, that's going to change with Pitfall potentially coming back, because I would love to see Pitfall Harry, be a Uncharted level return. That would be freaking awesome. But I think that with the purchase of these two, if it happens, again, this is just speculation town. If it turns out that Microsoft does acquire these two studios, there's not going to be anyone left to make a Tomb Raider game for Square Enix. And because they were disappointed in the sales of 2013, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and of course the last one, which wasn't my favorite. My least favorite was the last one. If I'm Microsoft, if I'm Matt Booty, if I'm Phil Spencer, head of Microsoft Gaming, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I go out there and I say, hey, listen, can we buy Tomb Raider, because it's an IP that you get a lot for your money with that. Besides Laura Croft being a very prominent woman character that could represent Xbox, you talk about movie rights, you're talking about toys, you're talking about, there's a lot that comes with it. Let's start with Crispy Bomb on this. Crispy, what first of all, what are your thoughts and opinions on potentially Microsoft going out of their way to bring back these studios? Not bring them back, but add them to Xbox Game Studios. I think they would be a great fit. But more importantly, what are your thoughts on bringing Lara Croft Tomb Raider as a first-party IP?
Wow, we're going way into speculation.
Oh yeah, we're going deep down the rabbit
Crystal
hole.
Dynamic is probably the one that, it's not total speculation, because if you look at the writing on the wall, I mean, why would Square do that? It's actually a very rare occurrence that they would do, just the whole studio, like not a little like subsection. Like they're just like, oh, here you go, Xbox, you can use them. It's a little weird. wondering if they're really at this point starting to hurt real bad, and maybe to get some revenue back, they say at the least the developer itself just sell it to Microsoft. I think that's a possibility. I don't know if they'll let the Tomb Raider IP go. I don't really see that happening. It would be logical, but they haven't touched it in a while now, and it's like I haven't heard any development, anything like that. Edios Montreal, I don't see them letting them go, because I mean, regardless of what they consider, successful, they just got a bag from Microsoft to put it on Game Pass, so it had to have been pretty substantial, So it's one of those things. It's so interesting to think about. You do have Indiana Jones, by the way, for the Uncharted style game.
Yeah,
so.
no, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Mhm.
But you got Pitfall there. That IP is completely, it's all owned by Activision. Once it comes out that the deal's done, I mean, we could be hearing all kinds of little hints from Phil. Maybe he'll have something on his shelves again, start that all over. But yeah, I mean, it would make sense at this point for Crystal Dynamics if they're not making anything for Square, and I mean, if Square's that disappointed with them, why not just sell them? That's the way I look at it.
I mean, it's great points. I mean, listen, again, it's speculation town, right? We don't know this is going to happen. The Crystal D, I think, is a done deal. Again, just based on common sense. Why would another publisher allow another publisher to take their AAA studio and be locked up? And how long is that going to be? Is that 2 years? Is that 3 years? Is it 5 years? I don't know, but it's going to be a significant amount of time. And they're not making games for Square; they're making games for Microsoft. So I think that deal is done. But Edios Montreal is another one. Again, they were unimpressed with the sales numbers with Guardians. So when the sales numbers are unimpressive, even though it was critically appreciated by people who played it, it didn't make the money for them. So that says to me that they're disappointed. And when you're disappointed, you might want to see, hey, listen, would you be interested in them as well? Because we know that they have publicly, Crispy, talked about their Western division not delivering, which I would disagree. But let's bring Dread into the conversation. Dread, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, listen, Tomb Raider is a legendary IP, and I can't say for sure that's going to happen. But if those two studios leave Square Enix and come to Xbox, they're not going to have anyone to make another Tomb Raider, because you're not going to have any of the Final Fantasy people doing it, because they've been unimpressed with Tomb Raider sales all for the entire trilogy. So why would you spend $50 million to bring another one in if you're not impressed with it? What are your thoughts on potentially not only bringing these two development houses, but also the IP?
Well, the IP would be great. I mean, regardless, we would have so many protests, so many petitions.
I love it.
If it ever happened, think about it. We'd have, I don't know how many Xboxes, PlayStations flipped over off of a desk. Even a PC flipped off. Oh my God, you can't be doing this to me. All the fake idiots out there that try to, look at me type deal. But no, that would be great. Think about it. You got Lara Croft and Pitfall Harry tag teaming it.
Wow. That would be something.
That would be so, and then there you go. And that's how you bring back Pitfall Harry, and he does his own thing. Like he just does like at Ubisoft, where he comes in and does a little cameo for something. You play him or just, get introduced to Harry, and you're like, who's Harry? And then you find out that's the new character for Pitfall. That is Pitfall Harry, and that's who this Harry dude is. Okay, so, stuff like that, right? Speculation time. That would be so cool. Now, for Crystal Dynamics, what is the most reoccurring theme that Xbox has said? We have a long relationship with studios before we buy them. Where are they working right now? Granted, not officially as a Xbox or a Microsoft development team, but as a outside studio that's working for who is that? Joanna Dark. Oh, that's right. So they got experience with what they're doing. They're working with them now, hand in hand. So that would be the best possibility of, look, they're not doing good. We're funneling the money for them to do this, and once they lose their contractors, this contractor of ours is going back to you. Why don't we just keep them? And I can see something like that going on. I don't see Square giving up any IPs. I don't care for how much money. I don't see them
Okay,
doing
I mean, I mean, listen, you bring up a valid point, dude, for sure. I mean, I've actually got pushback on that from other people that I've talked, that I happen to make
But it
mention.
would
They're
be
like,
great.
yeah, it's an IP that they don't get rid of.
It would be great. And and here's the other thing. We don't know what their expectations are of the Western developers. We don't know, what they're expecting. So if you maybe just maybe they're expecting or saying, right? Because when they hit those numbers, they got to pay out those bonuses because, hey, you hit these numbers, you get this beautiful bonus coming to you. Maybe they're saying, they got these numbers really inflated because they're expecting with that many more people here in the States. And, just think of North America, between Mexico, the U.S., and Canada. Well, okay, maybe not Canada. No, I'm kidding, Canada. We love you. But still, you figure with as many people as we have here, and then you got Europe, and you figure the diversity of the European countries and their with their cultures. You would think that, as a Western division, that they could make some money, so they're probably jamming those numbers way up there, and that's why they're not meeting expectations. They expect a lot more because they're probably not expecting as much from a Japanese studio in the Western. And as much as there's a lot of people that love our Japanese games on this side of the Pacific, maybe they just don't expect them to be that much. And obviously, the last game we talked about definitely missed its mark, and overall just didn't hit the numbers that they probably had lower numbers that they were expecting to hit, and they still didn't even hit those low numbers.
And that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we don't know what their expectations are. Are they manipulating the situation? Are they what? If you look at when we had the hurricane that went up the Mississippi, they had record losses because of all the oil ships they lost, and the factories and the refineries and this and that. But yet, at the end of the year, they had record profits.
Yeah.
So, similar situation, we just don't know the full truth as to what they're manipulating. And remember, XL can be manipulated. You leave one subject off, and that high number can also now become a lower number, or a lower number now boosts up to a higher number. You can manipulate these numbers, even though it's literally math you cannot manipulate, but you leave off a little bar, and now that pie chart looks a lot different.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great point, but again, we don't have the internal numbers. All we have is opinions at this point, and I think it would be great. The crystal dynamics, I think, is almost guaranteed. Again, my opinion, but I think that you don't get rid of an entire studio or lend them out for X amount of years if that studio isn't already a part of Xbox Game Studios. Again, it just doesn't make any sense. But Fuzzy, let's get your opinion on this, brother. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, could we see Tomb Raider come to Xbox? I mean, they have the money, and Square Enix keeps making these bad investments. Maybe they would get rid of Tomb Raider.
It'd be nice. I mean, I can possibly see Square parting with it, but it's going to be a pretty penny. Like, I figure Square has a price, and whatever that price is probably going to be a pretty lofty one. But because look at was it IO or Interactive IO
Yeah, IO
when they let them
Interactive.
go with Hitman, because I think they have the Hitman license.
The IO owns Hitman. Yeah, they own
Yeah,
it.
and then I guess Square has like some sort of like unwritten rule. They get first right refusal for publishing or something, but that's like limited, I think, to this last one. Like 3, I think, was the last deal of it, type of deal, or maybe it was like, an option where they have to ask them, and then Square can say yes or no, and then they can go elsewhere, type of deal. But I could totally see Crystal Dynamic being or becoming a member of the Xbox Studios family. Uh, Edios Montreal, it's a tough one, because even though they say, Guardians of the Galaxy underperformed or didn't meet expectations, which is like their famous line that they like to say for their Western studios. I kind of like what Dreadpool was saying, where maybe they're manipulating stuff to avoid having to pay those bonuses, because
That's interesting. Yeah,
People
definitely.
Can Fly kind of ran into the same thing, where it's like, we didn't get paid or we didn't get enough money. Oh, and people wanted to blame Game Pass, when it was like Square was like, you guys didn't meet the number that we put forth. But you guys added a 0 at the end or something. So what's that about? So it's hard to say, not knowing what Square's numbers are. If they say, oh, you have to sell 4 million copies, and then when they sell 4 million, oh, we meant 14 million. You didn't see the one in front? Yeah, you missed the mark. So Square, it seems like their Western studios are the redheaded stepchild kind of thing. Allowing them to work with Xbox, I think, is kind of like a test thing. And then it's like, when you do a test drive for a car, it's like, hey, Xbox, you like these guys, right? Yeah, let's see how they work out for you. And then meanwhile, the number crunchers at Square is like, well, if they seem like they're happy with them, we could bump that price up. Like, we could probably get like 2 or 3 billion. No, make that 6 billion. Yeah. When they come back, we'll tell them it's 6 billion and see if Microsoft opens up the checkbook. But it just seems like Crystal Dynamics, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they wind up parting ways from Square Enix. Eidos Montreal, I think they might try to hold on to for a higher price. Like I said, with the underperforming, or Guardians of the Galaxy underperforming supposedly, it still seemed like it did well enough compared to like the Avengers anyway. I think the Avengers probably had a nicer opening or a launch, and then it kind of died after that. I think Guardians of the Galaxy, the only thing I could see is that they may not have brought in as much money just because of the holiday sales, because of the timing of its launch. But I think it did fairly well. And now with it being, pretty much paid to be in Game Pass, I would have to believe whatever numbers they fell short on, I'm pretty sure Square kind of made Microsoft pay that difference, so it was worth their while. But they may want to hold on to them for at least for like a Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or another Marvel license that they may get in the near future, type of thing. But it would be awesome. I know Speculation Town, it's always sunny and rainbows and things like that. But yeah, I would definitely look forward to Crystal Dynamics. Would be nice if we could get Edios Montreal. The Lara Croft or Tomb Raider in general would be cool. And I like Crispy's idea as far as Pitfall Harry type of deal. That would be an awesome way to kind of, have more synergy between the different, studios which is under the Microsoft umbrella. But I could see Microsoft paying that price, because right now that would be an easy fit for Crystal Dynamics. They can, continue to add on so many different ways, or not really rehash, but take Laura to different parts of the world, or different dimensions if possible, because there have been some things like that.
Well, no, what it would do is it would give them the third person star character that people have been asking for. If you wanted anyone to go up against Nathan Drake and a new Uncharted, it would be Laura Croft.
Oh, definitely. It would be awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. Web Dave, let's get your final opinion on this. I'm going to talk some House of the Dead remake confirmed to release April 7th. But Web Dave, what are your thoughts on this, man? I mean, would these two studios fit Microsoft Xbox Game Studios, right? And what are your thoughts on the Tomb Raider character? I think it's Microsoft has to go out and get her.
I agree. I really do. I think it'd be a perfect fit. Both of those teams are excellent. I think. I mean, if they don't meet the level of, Square Enix's bar, whatever, I think I think they're great teams, and it does make sense that since they're already Crystal D is already working that close with Microsoft. I mean, I agree with you that I think the deal is probably already as close to being done as it can be. That maybe they're just waiting to make announcements. Since they're not acquiring the whole company, there is definitely some leeway in what they have to disclose at what time. So those can be, papers can be ready for final approval, final whatever. I believe they can actually sell studios within them and then also IPs without necessarily the whole board's approval. I could be wrong, but it seems like it's something that it makes sense, especially if they're putting them down that much that, it's almost like driving their own price down to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So why would you do that unless you just, they want to clean house and focus their finances, where they need. Right now, they're making a ton of money on Final Fantasy 14. I mean, a ton of money, which is great for them. But so that seems like that's gearing toward their focus. And some of these other ones, if they say it's not meeting their expectations, I'm sure they paid a lot of money to have, to be able to make these Avenger games.
The licensing fees alone must be ridiculous.
So they may be ready to just cut their losses and then just move ahead. And maybe that's one of the things that are coming up. But I really do think that it is a strong possibility that's going to happen, or is already in the works, and they haven't made it official or announced it to all of us yet. And they may be waiting for a good opportunity, at whatever E3 type show, or maybe the Gamer Awards this year.
Yeah,
maybe something like that.
2018 we saw 5 studios get announced.
Yep.
So this wouldn't surprise me. And again, it's a little different now because they don't want anything to happen with the regulators when it comes to the most important thing, and that's bringing Activision Blizzard to Xbox. But I think smaller studios, like Hoglaw was saying, are potentially possible. Folks, listen, we're at the 1 hour and 36 mark of today's show. I don't want to end the show early. We did plow through the topics, but I do want to bring up one that Dreadpool dropped into the DM. And again, this is probably going to hit or miss with a lot of people here. Not for me, not for Mrs. Boom, because I'm a huge House of the Dead fan, and so is she. Well, we have confirmation from, again, VGC, Video Games Chronicle. The House of the Dead remake has been dated for the Nintendo Switch with a new trailer. I just watched the trailer. It is pretty dope. It's coming to the Switch, and it looks fan-freaking-tastic. On April 7th, pre-orders go up on March 31st. Though I didn't see any guns available for it, like they wouldn't, it's like a special edition pack, which is, I think, a big missed opportunity, because I would buy that in a heartbeat. Yep. You don't want to hold the Wiimote thing, Majig. You want to actually, you want to hold like a gun.
Guns.
Yeah, but Dreadpool, take this away for us, brother. This is you're our horror enthusiast. Are you excited for this?
Woo! Yes. I mean, come on now. We're going back to old school days.
Old school Sega, man. That's what I'm talking about.
So let's get another movie. Oh, wait, we're talking about games. Yes, there was a movie.
It was terrible too, by the way.
A couple of them.
Yeah.
So, this would be cool. You know what I mean? And there are light guns out there that work with modern HD TVs. You know, the LCDs. But it still hasn't hit mass market to do anything like that. Now, with them using the Nintendo Joy-Cons. That would be a nice little spin on it because now you don't have to buy this thing that everybody has, and some of them actually look pretty cool. Some of them have extra gadgets and gizmos, so that way a laser is actually shot onto your TV and it has to capture it, and if there's a glare or this or that, it's kind of one of those iffy things. It's no longer how it used to be on the CRTs. So whatever Nintendo is going to do, I think they'll have a nice workaround for it with their controllers. But I can't imagine doing it on the small screen. So it's going to have to be something with, I'm thinking maybe like more of a for FPS, like a first-person shooter style. But it would be so cool to get back into that universe. You're talking about zombies, just zombies, right? It's going to be fun. This is one that I'm actually looking forward to. I only have like 3 or 4 games on the Switch because I just don't play it. I bought it for the wife, and you know, I played a couple of it. I bought the Zelda because of King David. I played for a good hour, and I just haven't had the energy to go back to playing it. And I loved what I played. You know, so it's just one of those things. I don't know what it is. I even have a Pro controller, and you know. But this, I think I'll be playing a little bit more than just an hour. I think I'll be going back a couple more times. Is it nostalgia? Probably, but I can't wait to see how they're gonna pull this off. And if they pull it off right, I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to myself. I honestly I can't wait. I think it's going to be dynamite, to be honest.
It looks good so far.
Yeah.
I mean, for what they didn't really show us, but so far, keep an open mind. Things can change.
Mm-hmm.
My excitement might be dismay that I was so excited for false advertising, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt, because you know, you come up with something like this and you coming back, yeah. If they do this right, this can bring back that genre again.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see more come back. I'd like to see Virtual Cop. I'd like to see House of the Dead 2. We'll obviously see how this actually
Let's
you know, how it does. But I'm excited nonetheless.
let's keep Typing of the Dead away though.
I did not like Typing of the Dead. I'm not a fan of it.
It was a good idea. It was a good idea, but yeah, let's keep it away.
Yeah, 100%. Crispy, let's get your opinion on this, brother. You obviously like somewhat horror games. I don't know if you have a Switch in the house, but this is something that I think is going to bring a lot of people to the Switch. I mean, it's premiering on the Switch. I would imagine that at some point you're going to find this on Xbox. You're going to find it on PlayStation. I think it was they found it was, I don't know why it was rated for Stadia. Go figure. I mean, is this something that you could get into?
It really depends on, you know, what their workaround is for the gun. I would really like to have that. I mean, that would bring back some old arcade nostalgia right there. Also, I think, you know, the Switch hasn't been played in so long, you know, it's about time to dust it off. So we'll see what more we see from it. And, you know, lately, my girlfriend's son's been on this Nerf gun kick, so I think I can get him to play it. So, you know, it's one of those things, like he's got like an arsenal of Nerf guns. I don't know. It's just his thing right now. And so, you know, if they have some kind of nice little gun thing that we can use, I wouldn't be surprised. Nintendo usually likes to sell those peripherals, but it's whether you can get your hands on them. That's the problem. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely interested. Absolutely.
Yeah, sounds good. And Web Dave, let's get your final opinion on this, brother, and we'll get everyone out of here. I mean, is this a day and for me? It's day and date. Like I said, I'm actually disappointed that there isn't like a gun package that
Right.
that comes with it. But again, maybe there is, and we just don't know it. But what are your thoughts on House of the Dead returning, a remake?
Oh, I love it. I think the game was great. I played it in the arcades. It was great. Now, there is a possibility, and it's very slim, but they do have options because they did make the cardboard virtual reality type things where you could actually made like a shotgun type weapon or whatever for using the light controllers that made out of the cardboard pack from Nintendo, because I had that set. But you could definitely see them doing something like that, because one of the remotes has a little sensor on the end, infrared type sensor. It could be utilized with any TV. So there is possibility, if they wanted to do something like that, utilize that to where it wouldn't be an expensive cost. Heck, they could probably even package the cardboard gun in with the retail version, for maybe not even any extra cost or much extra cost, if to have it included. That's a possibility. I'm with you. I would definitely much rather play it with a light gun of some kind, and there may be a third party type gun that is coming out for it. So that would definitely be a better way to play it. I've played. Konami had a few of their games that they had. Was it Time Crisis? On the PlayStation?
I love Time Crisis on the PlayStation. I think it was the PlayStation 2, if I'm not mistaken.
I had that with the red and blue gun.
Yes.
You plugged in and used it.
A lot of wires, but still, man,
exactly.
It was awesome. It's still awesome.
But it was fun. It was fun. I mean, I enjoyed way back in the day with with Duck Hunt. I enjoyed playing with the light scope and the Miniser from Sega. So there's definitely I think it's kind of a niche thing for sure, but boy, it'd be fun. Nostalgia be damned. I think it'd be great, especially if they made it to where whatever they used for it could be something they could open up for other games that they could make available.
I say bring them all back.
There you go.
Sega has an incredible history when it comes to light gun shooters. And why not? Nick's in the chat says, I missed the light gun games. You know what? The one that I played that I don't know if would ever come back. And I think Sega actually made it. I don't know if there would be a licensing issue. Does anyone remember playing Aliens in the with the big pulse rifle guns?
Oh yeah.
I mean, oh man, dude, those were great. The Terminator they had so many. Listen, I'm an old arcade nerd, bro, and I remember dropping dollars into these things, and I would gladly play them on the Switch. I mean, I play the Switch every day because I play Animal Crossing. Yes, I know I'm a nerd, but I play with the missus and she loves it, and I actually quite enjoy it. But listen, real quick, let me catch up with some of the super chats, and we'll get everyone out of here so you can start your weekend off on the right foot. Private chat, let me get to it. JC Carla Moore drops an outstanding $2 super chat, and he said he wants Jack Black for the Pitfall commercial. That would be kind of dope. I'm not going to front. I love Jack Black. Harry Balls in the chat drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain, Tomb Raider, let's go. Yeah, dude, I'm with you. I say if you're going to buy all these old IPs, those are two you definitely should get. And TK Chillin with the outstanding and extremely generous $20 super chat says, happy Friday. Great discussion as usual. Thank you, TK. Definitely appreciate that. But listen, folks, that is going to be your Breakfast with Boom for this Friday. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I thought everyone really brought their A game. For me, I thought the conversation of the day was certainly Gran Turismo 7. I think that it is marred in controversy. Going all the way back to Survivor, not getting a copy because of a review that they did that was questioned by SIE. I think that if in fact that is brought to fruition, and that is the case, we need to, as content creators, take SIE to task. People are allowed to not like your game, but also they also reserve the right not to give out a game for review. But again, I think it's questionable for sure. And of course, the other two conversations, and now the third one with House of the Dead. I had a great time with it. I hope you did as well. And if you did, please consider hitting the like button. We had almost 400 people here, which is awesome. And let's get to the outros. We'll start first with our newest member, Web Dave. You delivered as expected. Please, by all means, sell your brand. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Thank you so much. This was great. I'm super excited to be on the panel and look forward to many until you get rid of me days to come. So, but yeah, everybody can easy to reach me if you go to our webpage. Is the easiest way, which is outbreakpodcast.com. And then there's links right in the front of it where you can click right through to our YouTube page and subscribe. Definitely need the subscriber base up, but hopefully we can get that to happen. It's been growing. Got some great shows. Just dropped the Mag interview.
Nice.
And
Yeah, that was good. I listened to that. It was excellent.
Thank you. He was really good. This Monday I've got Wandering Dutch coming up. And then and I've got some other ones that are in the can that I'll be announcing soon. Got more interviews to do. I've got Boxenberger in queue to interview him. So pretty excited. It's great. And again, thank you all very much for being so welcoming in the chat and everybody here. And let's get to gaming because I know, boom, it's about time to play some Elden Ring. Isn't it?
Oh, hell yeah. You know what I'm doing right after that. Real quick, Back from the Dead in the chat says Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles and Darkside. Oh, Resident Evil Umbrella and Darkside Chronicles were great on-rail shooters that you used with the Wiimote. I remember that. I owned that. I actually think I might still own that. It might be in storage. Yeah, these were great light gun games. A lot of people don't know that Resident Evil actually had light gun games, and they were pretty dope. But Fuzzy Bovadier, I mean, listen, obviously you did a great, write-up of what your thoughts were for Gran Turismo 7. If people want to reach out to you on social media, potentially strike up a conversation and check out your YouTube channel that is dedicated to the racing genre, where can they go for that?
Well, I want to thank you for having me on today and welcoming of Dave on here. It's awesome to have you and your thoughts and everything as far as for the for these topics and all the ones to come in the future. Always great to be on here with Crispy and Dreadpool. It was also good to have BitCloud in here for a bit. But man, oh man, for anybody that wants to hear my rambling about GT7 or just racing games in general, you can definitely find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere or search on YouTube for Fuzzy_Belvedere. I'm going to put up some of the replays and might do some side-by-side comparison and a little bit more, I guess, in-depth on my thoughts on the game. It will be more enjoyable once I get past this, grind of progression. But yeah, it's we gotta, give our feedback to the devs and hopefully they listen and we'll go from there. But it was awesome being here today. Awesome having everybody that was participating in the chat. And man, thank you so much for letting me be a part of it.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And Dreadpool, let's get you on out of here, brother. Where can people reach out to you and potentially check out Breaking Bread with Dread?
Oh, yes. First of all, thank you to the chat for everybody that shows up. I'm going to call somebody out here. Elias, I got to say one thing to you. Kalispera. Okay, so anyway, he knows what I'm talking about. You guys don't. Nothing bad. I just say good evening in Greek. Okay, so anyway,
excellent.
Thank you, Web Dave. Congratulations. Welcome to the Friday show.
Thank you.
So anyway, yes, it's always great to see Fuzzy and Crispy and Bad Bit, BitCloud. It would have been nice to see Bad Bit actually, but either way, thanks, Boom. Thanks for running these shows for us and having us on. Thanks to the listeners for coming in here. Thanks to everybody that actually participates and chats with us. This is the beauty of this stuff. We get to talk games. We're not talking anything bad. We're having conversations. We're learning from each other, and this is how it's supposed to be. So, on that note, Breaking Bread with Dread. It's on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. Check it out. Like I said, the last one. It was Italian Clowns and myself, and we went to this nice little restaurant, and just check it out and find out where we went. And that's where we got the drinks. Was right around the corner from there. Linktree's got all my links. I actually sold one of my Metroid Dread shirts just the other day, so if you're looking at it, yeah, check it out. So Linktree's got the links to all that stuff. YouTube, I've been streaming a lot more. I've been trying to put other content out, but I just haven't been able to get it tweaked the way I like it. So it's on hold, but I'm streaming. So yeah, definitely check it out. Twitter, Dreadpool is all the O's are zeros. TikTok, there's even Hover GG. It's I'm out there, so just look it up. You'll find me. If you don't see my Dreadpool dude logo, then it's not me.
Nice. Well, listen, thanks again for being here each and every week. Love with the energy that you bring. And of course, last and no way least, my brother Crispy Bomb. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media and what else you got going on, dude.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Dave, welcome. And at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. Tonight I am ending my 24-hour marathon of podcasting on Doomslayer's Den, 6:30 p.m. So yeah, and then I'm gonna take a nice 3-day break, and then you'll find me back on the Retro Renegades Tuesday night, 7 p.m. We got the next podcast Thursday, 8 p.m. and of course back here on Breakfast at Boom Friday, 10 a.m.
Thank you so much for that. And of course, I want to close. I'll say a big thank you to all the super chats that continue to come in, support Double Barrel Gaming. Obviously, we turn those around into giveaways, and we have a couple of big ones coming soon. As soon as we figure out the finances and exactly what we are giving away, we will obviously make that announcement. And of course, I'm going to close out the show, folks, with something that is important to me. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were young. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules. And I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy playing whatever you're playing on. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.